I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Thanks for joining us on TCM as we celebrate the 100th birthday of our great friend Mel Brooks. Since early this afternoon, we've been wishing him a happy centennial by showing a selection of his finest films. Born Melvin James Kaminsky on June 28, 1926, the man known for his stellar comic timing began his showbiz career as a drummer. He came up with the stage name Brooks by truncating his mother's maiden name, Brookman, so that it would fit on his bass drum display. So he's funny and practical. Mel's first big break in comedy came when he joined the writing staff of Sid Caesar's landmark TV show Your Show of Shows in 1950. Brooks spent nearly a decade working with Caesar, his mentor, as well as friends like Carl Reiner, making great sketch comedy television. He also found success working with Buck Henry when they co-created the classic sitcom Get Smart in 1965. Mel's true ambition, though, was to make movies. He got his wish in 1967 with his directorial debut, The Producers. He also earned an Oscar for writing the screenplay. Brooks wrote and directed another comedy 3 years later, The 12 Chairs, but neither picture did well at the box office. Brooks's filmmaking fortunes changed dramatically with Blazing Saddles in 1974. While Brooks was shooting that landmark comedy with his friend Gene Wilder, who had also co-starred in The Producers, Wilder pitched Mel an idea for a movie based on the universal horror classic Frankenstein. What if the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein was ashamed of his family and wanted nothing to do with them? Up next, the manifestation of that idea. Released by 20th Century Fox in 1974, Young Frankenstein. Mel Brooks directed and co-wrote the screenplay with Wilder, who led the cast as the embarrassed grandson, Dr. Frederick Frankenstein. Dr. Frederick Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein is a respected scientist who, despite the shame he feels, finds himself reluctantly buying into his grandfather's work. Production on Young Frankenstein started in February of 1974, just after Blazing Saddles emerged as a huge box office hit. Despite their previous success together, Gene Wilder made a special request of Mel Brooks. Help with the screenplay, direct the movie, but don't be in it. Wilder believed seeing Brooks on screen would jolt the audience out of believing they were in the world of Universal's black and white movies from the 1930s. They'd had a hard enough time getting the movie made in black and white in the first place. Columbia Pictures was on board until Mel casually mentioned that the movie would not be in color. When the execs at Columbia tried to cut the budget, Mel went across the street to Alan Ladd Jr., newly in charge of production at Fox. Ladd was more impressed by Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder than he was afraid of black and white, so he made a handshake deal with Mel on the spot. From 1974, also with Peter Boyle as the monster, plus Madeline Kahn, Terry Garr, Marty Feldman, Cloris Leachman, and Gene Hackman. This is Young Frankenstein. Mel Brooks has said that his favorite movies include the 1931 Universal Pictures classic Frankenstein and Fred Astaire pictures. So if you put those elements together, it's no surprise he'd make Young Frankenstein. Besides being a comedian, actor, Oscar-winning screenwriter, director, and producer, Mel Brooks is also an Oscar-nominated and Tony-winning songwriter. He wrote all the songs for his Broadway musical version of The Producers, as well as the 2007 stage adaptation of Young Frankenstein. What is surprising, then, is that Mel was originally dead set against having the Puttin' on the Ritz number in the movie, which Gene Wilder wanted. Mel's first reaction to the song and dance scene was, "Are you crazy?" Mr. Over the Top was afraid that sequence would be too over the top. Both Gene Wilder and Mel have described what happened next, that Wilder went on for like 20 minutes arguing passionately about why it would work until Wilder was full of rage and close to tears. Then Mel suddenly said, "Okay, it's in." Wilder was flummoxed. Mel explained that he wasn't sure whether the scene was right or wrong, but he knew if Wilder fought that hard for it, it belonged in the movie. You can hear that story, along with many others, in Judd Apatow's terrific two-part documentary series, Mel Brooks, the 99-Year-Old Man. It is available on HBO Max. Coming up, the Professor Jacqueline Stewart brings you this week's installment of Silent Sunday Night, a 1929 adventure starring Douglas Fairbanks. The Iron Mask is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, the Iron Mask, then the Eagle Shooting Heroes, and later, Chungking Express. It's nonstop imports on TCM tonight.